You will join the block party for that kind of a nasty comment. Thank you, David. I thought I saw one of you here. Hey, Anna Grace. Where'd that weird accent come from saying your name? Oh dear, I'm losing it. Anyhow. I have to go to CVS later because I still haven't picked up my Mounjaro. So I'll get that later tonight. At least my CVS is a 24-hour one, so it is a dress. Tomorrow. I don't know why that. Anyway. Yeah, I am a little bit slap happy from all of the heat today. I did not end up in my usual roosting spot. And I was in the sun part of the day. I put the sunshade up over my shoulder on the side window and kind of cutting across in front of me, so it wasn't super in my face heat, but it still was hot. I will do, if they still have any, I will do a, because these things sell out really fast. I'll do a video for the company that sent them to me. AI, you stupid person. It was done with AI. I would never throw Heimdall. Good Lord. I have occasionally had to pick him up by the harness and like hold him in front of my face and say, stop, young man, right now. I did not throw him. His harness has a handle on it for a reason. Because they just want to make sure that my life never, ever, 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 ever gets better. They want me to be so completely devastated that I'm going to, and it isn't going to happen. So they can just take a long walk off a short pier because they're not going to succeed. I wish that they still had the controls on here that you could make it so if you don't follow back, they can't comment. Used to have that control. Or if they're not a subscriber, they can't interact. They still have that one, I think, but I don't have enough subscribers to do that. So... Anywho. Hey, Deborah. Oh, and their warped, twisted minds, they have a reason. It's not a good one. It's not a real one, but they have a reason. Dress. It's a dress, Tina. He is perfectly fine. At the moment that they supposedly thought that I was being rough on him, he was doing something wrong, And I held him up by the harness to get his attention in my face so that he would stop what he was doing. Sometimes you have to be alpha. He was definitely showing his puppy ass. But I mean, come on. He is crashed out on the bed right now. He was playing with his toy a minute ago. What the heck is that? I did not throw him out the window. He tried to jump out the window. He tried that this morning when there were two big dogs. And I'm like, oh, no, you don't. They will eat you up. He wanted to go check out the coyote yesterday or day before. I'm like, no. We don't go running up to coyotes. Coyotes will eat you as a snack. You're not much bigger than a rabbit. Dogs will be dogs, yes. And sometimes he doesn't use common sense. For such a super smart dog, occasionally, he just hits it out in left field. Yeah, tiny dogs, It's cooking right now. I haven't eaten yet. I got in this room and the first thing I did after going live for 15 minutes with the most ridiculously bad connection I've had in a long time, I finally gave up. I slept 2.5 hours and 2.5 hours. It was, woke up to, go to the bathroom and straight back to sleep. And I had to go out to the car because I hadn't gotten the rice and I hadn't gotten the couple ingredients I needed to make my dinner. So I have rearranged the car a little bit. I still need to go out there with a garbage bag and just throw away a bunch of stuff that I don't need. We're going to get it. No, I didn't really. Shelby, go away. And it was like a 30-second stop now discipline. And then I back onto the seat. He has a harness for a reason. It's an easy way to pick him up, especially when he's so low to the ground. I need something that I can grab, that I can get a handhold on, because he's fast. It's why he keeps the harness on and why we do not open the door until there's a leash on him. So, because he's lickety split. One of the things I hate worse than anything is when you're in a bathroom in a public space and they decide that's the time to clean the bathroom. You've just gotten settled, your things are about to happen, and bum 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 bum, because it's always a man. It's never a woman cleaning the bathroom. It's a man. And they have to pound on the door like it's dire emergency. And of course, Heimdall, the minute they do that, starts barking like insanity has happened. And they did that to me in Publix yesterday, banging on the door. So it took me like 3 minutes to get him to stop barking because the guy wouldn't leave the door. He kept knocking. And I'm like, would you stop knocking so I could get the dog to be quiet so I can talk to you? And the guy kept knocking. And I'm like, oh my God. So he riled poor Heimdall up. So when I finally come out of the bathroom after I settled him down, finished what I was doing and cleaned up, washed my hands and everything, got the leash untangled because he tied himself into it, picked up my purse and got it settled over my shoulder. I headed back out the door and the manager walked over and she said, we don't say anything to you about him being in here because he's usually quiet. What was going on? I says, the guy wouldn't stop knocking and the dog is trained to bark to tell me there's somebody knocking. And he was losing his mind because the guy was knocking aggressively. And she goes, okay, I thought that's what it was. She says, I just wanted to make sure because people will complain if there's a dog, barking frantically inside the store. And I said, well, you've noticed I've been here in the store for 3 hours today and he hasn't done anything until now. And she goes, yeah, I had noticed. And I said, okay. She says, so just make sure he doesn't bark. I said, yeah. So anyhow, yeah, small and fast. When they're this size, I still remember poor Dale. He opened his front door to get the mail. And his little tiny Chihuahua, it was one of those, deer-like ones. They're really skinny, long, thin legs. Just shot out that door. Who knows what the dog thought he was chasing, but he ran into the street and got hit and killed. And Dale was devastated. Every single one of my dogs is trained to bark when somebody knocks at the door because of where I lived. First the home in Virginia and then down here. If I'm in the bedroom or in the case of the one in Virginia, the front room, I can't hear when somebody knocks at the door because it's all the way at the other end. I have hearing impairment. And I'm not deaf. I don't hear some things. And especially if it's behind me. I read lips, by the way, if you didn't know. So all of them have been trained to alert me that there's somebody at the door. And usually it's run up and run back down the hall. That's the cue. But I've got him on a leash and this guy's aggressively just knocking and the poor dog is losing his mind. So, yeah. He couldn't do what he's trained to do, run up and down the hall. But yeah, when they book, they book. That's it exactly. And Dale had just had back surgery and Paco he was down the sidewalk so fast. So Dale, you can't do that with the current dog. He has got a gate right at the door and a secondary gate. He built like a little fence. So you have to go through 2 gates to enter the door and 2 gates to get out of the house, preventing little dogs and the cats from going very far, from getting away. Thank you. It's a dress, not a tank top. It's a tank dress, and it has pockets, big, deep, useful pockets. So yeah, because he got another Chihuahua. Though Chilly Willy, the current one, also the deer-like, but oh, that's kind of cool. I haven't watched Jeopardy in ages. They take off so fast. They really do. I saw that Ruby Tuesday. That is so cool. Ankle jumpers. Aunt Priscilla had a range of dogs. Jessie was a husky mix that she shaved every year in the summer because she thought that was the way to keep the poor dog cool. Poor Jessie. She would All that was left is the wedge of hair, fur on the head, and the rest of the body was just shaved smooth. And Jesse would walk around like, "Ugh, fuck everybody." It's just the look on this dog's face was, "I hate the world. I hate everybody. I especially hate you. Why did you do this to me, woman?" And when the hair started growing back in, then Jesse was okay. Peppino was a cockapoo. He actually looked like a much taller version of Heimdall, and a slightly lighter. He was a buff cream color. Tammy was a rat terrier. She was heavier than him, but shorter. She had the typical rat terrier, real short legs. I'm sure the question was something like, who is the Norse god who guards the Bifrost, or something like that. Also known as the Rainbow Bridge. It's what allows the Asgardians to travel between worlds, is the Bifrost, the Rainbow Bridge. Very hot, Mary, until I got in the room, and then it was much better. But the bed in this room is just a little bit lower than the one we had last time. So he doesn't need as much help getting up there. But he uses the chairs anyway. Dreaming Annie, it was a fluke. I was getting love bombed. Literally, it was a good thing. But I should have just come straight back instead of trying to wrangle things. It was extremely amazing, and I came back on a couple of minutes later to thank everybody. But oh my God, I was just like, wait, where? It was amazing. Yes, you did. And it was like $5, $10, $5, $10, $5. But like, I'm trying to wrangle it all into the savings, so it doesn't disappear on me, through Apple or something else. And Venmo, PayPal, Venmo, PayPal, Venmo, PayPal. Oops, one on Cash App, Venmo, PayPal. I'm sure they are, and I'm sure they're just having a randomly wonderful time making money off of me. And karma will bite them in the behind someday. Anyhow, poor Dale. He had so many surgeries on his back because the first one did not fix the problem and created a whole new problem, and it went downhill from there. Each additional surgery just made the pain worse. I think he had 7 before they finally mostly corrected the problem, but he was on permanent disability by the time they did that. So his wife is so sweet and so just supportive of him, and I am so happy he met her, because we love each other, but we were terrible together. And he needed Liz. He needed a woman who could handle his crazy adventure-seeking personality. That wasn't me. I am not one to go whitewater rafting or jumping out of a perfectly good airplane or scuba diving in a shark tank. He volunteered at Florida Aquarium in Tampa and would dive in the shark tank to clean the inside of the tank. Hell no. Not just no, but hell no. Yeah, he was my first husband. I live in St. Petersburg. I grew up in St. Petersburg. I'm from Tennessee, but I've been here since 67. There are people who have extreme, nerve and can do things like that. Dale was one of them. He volunteered to be a airborne ranger when he went into the military because jumping out of a perfectly good airplane sounded like fun to him. Hell no. No. Dale was born here in St. Petersburg. Born and raised. He lives in Bradenton now. Yeah, exactly. He's an adrenaline junkie, and I am not. I'm a theater girl and an artist, and my idea of excitement is going to a craft fair and finding a really good deal on gemstone beads or something like that. That's my adrenaline rush. Going to a coin show and finding a rare find in coins, just, yeah. Because they're people who intersect with my life. They're family. Yeah, thrift store shopping. Yeah, exactly. Finding a cool find like what is that special kind of glass? The stuff that glows under the UV light. Finding some of that at a thrift shop for $2 or something, that kind of thing. Uranium glass, yeah. I think we're already done. Close to it. It's not bubbling as much. Garage sales not as much, but I will never forget the day that my friend Hap and I were going to yard sales, and he was talking with this woman, and her husband had been in World War II, American soldier, and his family was German. So he had a World War II militaria shop, and his specialty, of course, was German militaria because his dad was a foot soldier and his mom was actually the tailor who made some of the uniforms and stuff. So, yeah, he had the German side. Not that his parents wanted to fight, but you either fought or you were incarcerated as a Jewish sympathizer or something else. So they did what they had to do to survive. But anyhow, so he's talking to this woman, and I notice a box under the table. And I pull the box out, and I'm looking through it, and I just kind of lifted the edge of a knife, the handle, and I went, "Hey, what do you think of this?" And he leaned over and he goes, "That might be interesting. And he asked the woman, how much for the knife? And she said, oh, you can have that whole box for $5. And he says, are you sure? And she goes, yeah. She said, I found that in the attic. It's stuff that my husband brought home from the war. I have no use for it. My finding that box and him getting it for $5, he made $25,000 on that one knife. Cleaned up, it turned out to be a really big collector's item. Everything else in the box was gravy after that. I mean, after the initial purchase of the knife, everything else was just like secondary. But yeah, it was a neat find. He took me shopping, bought me 2 cute dresses, took me to dinner someplace really expensive. He says, you're worth it for what you just did for me. Aw. We'd been friends since grade school, so. He was the one. We went to the Votech at the same time and ran into each other in the halls and like, and started dating. We'd never dated all through grade school or high school, but we did when we got to Votech. And he was so much fun. But New Year's Eve that year, we were out on Madeira Beach behind the hotel that his parents used to own and his friends' parents or grandparents bought. So they owned the hotel next to it, so it all became one thing. And we're on a big blanket on the beach, and Arnold Hap, he's the only person I've ever known with that name, by the way, which is why the person who was calling me just drove me crazy because I knew it wasn't him because he's passed away. He's playing a Frank Zappa soundtrack. It's Joe's Garage is the name of the album. And the particular song was about coming out of the closet. And it's a really weird album anyway. And they're talking about being interested in kitchen appliances, toasters and whatever. And he says it was a really sexy toaster with marital aids written all over it. Anyway, so we're listening to it and that song plays and I'm like, oh, that's really cute. And then he gets to one that it's sung first in German and then translates to English. And the German sounds, very upbeat and da-da-da-da-da. And then it goes to English and my face did a, what? Oh my God. It was rude. It was just super, super rude. And I just, my thump, yeah. Anyway, I did not know Fig Mish was what it was. But anyway, find Joe's Garage on YouTube and look for the song sung first in German, and you will know what I'm talking about as soon as it starts playing, because it's da 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 da, and you're just like da da. Now I'm dancing along to it, sit dancing. You know how you bounce and whatever. And then it translated to English, and I went from this to what? Oh my. In the immortal words of George Takei. Oh, this is perfect. And I stopped it before it had a chance to get even slightly burned on the bottom. It doesn't burn, but it gets a little brown, and then its sensor says, "Ooh, we've run out of water." So we used the new mushrooms in this, the freeze-dried mushrooms, and the asparagus I had left over from yesterday's meal at Publix, and the can of beef that I get from the church. I am not picking up this week because they forgot to even email me about a food order. So, and I think the one person that I've still been picking up for didn't get one this week. So, let's see if I can get, yeah, there's reconstituted mushroom. I sliced them so that 6 mushrooms would go farther. All right, let's unplug this so it doesn't keep cooking. There we go. No, it's not a case of not letting me. They just don't have the orders at the moment. The one person I was still picking up for, she didn't order this week. Oh, Devin, take your Scientology and go elsewhere. Bye-bye. We're not having Scientology discussions. It is. It's rice with beef, asparagus, and those lovely freeze-dried mushrooms, reconstituted and cut up into it. And the rice is the cilantro lime rice that I get from the store. Kind of like yellow rice, packaged yellow rice, but it's cilantro lime seasoning. No, I didn't make the dress. This was a gift from one of the vendors that I do shops for. Freebie, but not one that I have to do a video for. I'm going to, but Oh, that came out perfect. I didn't even have to add any additional seasoning because the cilantro lime seasoned rice is perfect. You know, I wish they would make the laughing taco into an actual, graphic with a taco or something like that. That would be really cute. Oh, I do too. They're really frustrated because they don't have my phone number anymore. Oh, you think you're glad? I am glad. I don't know if you noticed, but for the most part, I have no idea what it is. What you all never saw was what was happening while I was trying to talk to you all, and it wasn't just the text messages, they were calling me and leaving me voicemail messages that were vile. But they would block the caller ID, so I couldn't report them. But the vileness got overboard, threatening, and way too much in 1 hour time period. And I was like, okay, I can't deal with this anymore. And I called the police and I made a report. So there is a file now on this whole thing. And he took down all of the messages. And so we have a report now on this weird person. Unless they show up on my doorstep, car, door, whatever, they can't do very much. And usually when the person shows up, then it's too late. So I'm doing the best I can to protect myself. It does look like chicken wire. Yeah, he took that one too. That one they can take action on. I have no idea who the person was on PayPal. But no idea what you're talking about. Reposting thing. That is cute. Oh, my device is overheating, it says. View cooling tips. One thing I can do is unplug the charger for now. It's not fully charged, but it's better than it was. We're going to turn my little fan on and aim it at the back of the device. Oh yeah, I changed my number. Made a huge difference. I don't know if that's created using X's or what. It's rice with asparagus, beef, and the mushrooms, the reconstituted dehydrated mushrooms. Ryan, you've sent gifts before, so why did it say the first gift you've ever sent? This was 2 for $5 at Wawa's this morning, and I had a points to get part of my purchase free, so I didn't feel like the $5 was that expensive, and I really wanted the benefits that Olipop has. These are really tasty. Anyhow. They are made with stevia, so they have that little bit of funky stevia aftertaste, which I don't like, but the root beer is good enough that I can tolerate that little aftertaste. I do like Poppi better, but they don't have Poppi at Wawa, and I was at Wawa. So, back in 2023 when Bloom first got really popular, a lot of people were promoting Bloom, and I heard good and bad about it. I never tried it. One of the people I follow who did hairdresser, like beauty shop videos, she was doing the Bloom and losing weight with it. Sorry, it's to cool down my phone. I turned it down a little bit in speed. It was pre-TikTok Shop. Bloom wasn't, they were offering, thank you, they were offering discounts, like affiliate things. It's cooling my phone down. And me. I love this fan. Absolutely love this fan. Yes, Heimdall is sleeping. It is the cutest fan. I like the loaded teas from the Loaded Tea Shop, but I got a free sample. I used up the free sample, did lots of videos 2 years ago when I got them, and they haven't offered free samples since, so I haven't been able to afford it. Thank you. I'm really tickled with the dress. This is like my favorite print. Actually, the material is really comfortable. So, and it has pockets. Oh, that was pretty. Thank you. That was really pretty. Thank you. They had it in solid colors, they had it in the flowers, and then they had, I think, like a leopard print one, which doesn't really attract me. This is what I love. Rice with asparagus, beef, and the shiitake mushrooms that came in. Freeze dry, so I don't have to worry about them going slimy in the on me. They will last. So it's like a stretchy kind of t-shirt like knit. They're more comfortable, not just with having had the gallbladder removed. They're more comfortable when you have bladder issues. It's easier to change a dress. Pants are a pain in the neck to change when you have to wear incontinence underwear. So, Sammy, you just doxed me. Thank you. Mama KK, that incision will eventually stop giving you an issue. But I know what you mean. Excuse me a moment. I'm going to mute the live for a second. Well, pause. No, I'm going to mute. Where's the... There we go. I'm on hold. It came from one of the vendors on TikTok Shop, but it wasn't sent to me as a free sample. It was just sent to me as a, we know you'd love this. They follow me and know what I'm going through, and said I needed a couple of new dresses to spruce my life up. Why is it somebody said tap, 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 and my brain went knock, knock, knocking on heaven's door? I did not do that today, so you all need to just mind your own effing business. Trolls. I'm talking to the trolls. All right. I don't know why they're so obsessed, but they are. Obsession is the name of their game. I don't know. And yes, it is frightening. It's extremely scary to think that people have nothing better to do in life than to harass someone who is homeless and dealing with, everything I'm dealing with. I was driving down the road yesterday. This poor woman was crossing the little smaller road. It wasn't, I mean, it's semi a bigger road, but it's 2-lane. It's not 4 or 6 or whatever. Anyway, she just gotten across the street, tripped on the curb, and flat out landed on her face. And I pulled over and asked her if she was okay, and are you sure? And do you need anything? Can I help you? And she's like, no. I just got low blood pressure and I pass out easy. And I'm like, well, you face planted pretty hard. She goes, I'll be fine. I'm like, okay. And I paused there for a good 3 to 4 minutes just to make sure she had herself all together before I continued on to where I was going. But I know, doesn't it? I love this. Well, it's the flowers are basically hibiscus flowers and other, palm type leaves and stuff. So it's very tropical. Relatively the same age as I am. I would almost swear she had POTS. Except she wasn't down as long as someone with POTS would be. It was very, very hot that day too, so those mushrooms reconstitute beautifully. I mean, it's got rice glued to it, but I sliced it up. It tastes wonderful. I'm 66 and a half. I'll be 67 in November. It is so nice to have an actual hot sit-down meal, something I cooked. Good for you, Donna. You gotta hope so. Okay, Grandma has everybody else beat. Oh, well, happy early birthday, Cheryl. They troll me because they can make me, I'm emotional. I will be the first to admit it. I am an emotional girl. And I'm easily triggered. I'm trying hard not to be, but I admit it. And they know where to punch, so to speak. Threatening to take my dog from me is a definite, because he is my world. And you're surprised my fight hasn't gone into flare. Oh, believe me, it has. Do I talk about it? No, not much. My shoulder has been driving me crazy for a couple of months now. This hand keeps messing up on me. And this is the hand I drive with because Heimdall's usually right here. So, yeah, it's been bad. Can I stop and whine about it? No, because I'm literally stuck in this situation. There's not a damn thing I can do to get myself out of it without help. And these people do not want me to get help. When I could still drive Lyft, it wasn't a problem. I could drive Lyft. and then the Kia Soul died. Right as things was getting freaking cold here in Florida, and we were having heavy rain, the Kia died. So I ended up with this, it does me too, Nancy. I'm stuck with this Jeep. And while it does get me from point A to point B, some days it's a really frustrating drive from point A to point B because I have to keep pulling over, stopping the car, opening the door to completely, like zero out the computer, closing the door, starting the engine up again, and praying that this time it won't go into manual instead of automatic. And I start driving down the road, and all of a sudden it goes from automatic to manual again. And the car slows down. You can't drive Lyft when your car is doing this. You will lose your rating really fast and possibly get banned from being a driver. So I have not been able to drive. And everybody goes, well, why don't you be a greeter? Why don't you be this? Why don't you do this? I have to have a home to be able to leave Heimdall behind. Not that I would, but I would have to have a home. So all the jobs that require me to leave him at home, where do I leave him? I'm not leaving him. I'm not giving him up. He is literally the only thing he's the glue that holds me together. Without him, I will come completely unglued. I will curl up into a ball and I will wait for death, because that's how I feel about having this dog. Finding out last year that I'm in a hotel. I live in my car if I don't have a hotel room. No, I don't have a home. I am on the list for a whole bunch of, income-related senior living homes, but there's a 3-year waiting list on all of them, and it's only been since January that I've been without a home. So, yeah, we have got a long road to haul still. He's not a pet to me. So that question is just rude. Constantly filling out forms for different places and praying something happens. The Kia died 4,000 miles outside of warranty. It wasn't going to get repaired. A new engine cost $8,000. I do not have $8,000. If I had $8,000, I wouldn't have lost my home. Now, would I? I would have been able to pay the lot rent. Oh, Heimdall doesn't know he's a dog. He's a fur child. I found out for my birthday that there was an eviction coming. But I was told that I would get another form long before the actual eviction. Like an appear in court form. I never got that. I just got an eviction notice put on the door saying that they were going to lock my place up the next day. Thankfully, the police did not show up on that particular day. In fact, they didn't show up the whole weekend. It wasn't until Monday. But I didn't know that, and the park told me that I had to get everything out that day. I could put it on the carport and pick the rest of it up later, but it had to be outside the home. So we got as much as we could onto the carport, loaded onto the truck, and taken to my storage spot. So I have everything that I could salvage in storage. Now, once it gets cool enough that I can go through the storage, we are going to weed out the things that I don't absolutely have to have, and those will go to either Goodwill or be sold. No, they didn't bring me to eviction court, which means there isn't a court eviction on the record, because they didn't ask me to come to court. It's not fun, Shelley. It's definitely not fun. I didn't own the land, Nudie. That's the problem. Lot rent. And when they evict you, they take the trailer. It's too old to move it. I don't know. They like to come in and say, I'm new here. What's your story? Why are you homeless? And I'm sure they're actually put up to it by the awareness group at least 70% of the time, but you don't know for sure, so you have to go through it all over again, which is frustrating. I hate repeating myself. And in the process of their being rude, they make me appear rude because I lose my mind over the constant repeat questions. And so help me God, if one more person makes a comment about the inheritance, that it was COVID. I bought a car, I bought a home. I paid for both things outright. That was almost $34,000 right there out of the money gone. Invested, but gone. And then you had to repair things because the washer didn't work, so I had to buy a new washer. And then the refrigerator quit working, so I had to get a new refrigerator. And then the air conditioner decided to die, and I had to have the compressor repaired, a new motor, $750. Termites came flooding out of the walls, another $750. People don't sit and take into consideration all the things that it takes just to keep a home going. I had to repair a bunch of stuff just as I moved in because I bought it as is. It was an older trailer. Decoratively, yes, it was adorable, but three sinks all needed some sort of plumbing issue. 2 faucets had to be completely replaced. And I didn't even use the second sink in the bathroom because it leaked bad. I had to get rid of a mouse 2 times the first year. Not sure where they were coming up. At least I wasn't then. I figured it out later. The cabinet underneath the oven, there was some cord or something came up through the floor. There was an opening. They were coming in through that. But this is a dress. And thank you. I like it. I had my friend patch that hole up. And when the rat issue started, they had opened it up again. They'd torn up the patchwork he put in there. So, and then I found out that where the hood, the range hood that goes over the stove, the exhaust vent, it had the openings going up to the roof through the shelves, but there was no vent, whatever you call it, the actual vent stuff that goes up to the top. There was none. It was just an opening and an opening, and hello, there's, where the little tiny pipe was going up through the roof. No actual vent material. So they were coming in through there because they were roof rats. And it also leaked when we had really heavy rains. The gutter would get clogged right there with pine needles and stuff. Not exactly sure why. There wasn't a close by pine tree, but it was pine needles. And it would get clogged, and then the rain would leak in onto the stove. So that was always a joy. I had to keep a bowl up there and empty it in really heavy storms. Thank you. You see your thumb now. I can just see you. Keeping a home is difficult. And then you had the fact that it was COVID and I was not driving Lyft because I couldn't wear a mask. I am claustrophobic, horrendously so. And it took me 6 months just to find one that I could put on my face and wear for at least 5 minutes before I started to climb the walls and freak out. And then another 3 months after that, I found one that was a little bit better. And I started driving Lyft the following year in 2021, almost towards it was the end of July that I finally got driving again. And after about an hour of wearing the mask, I would start getting nauseous, and I couldn't figure out what it was till I got out of the car one afternoon to put gas in and almost passed out. And I realized there was too much pressure going on the back of this ear, and it was causing me vertigo and nausea. So then I had to come up with a way to wear the mask and not have it looped over my ears. It was a total pain in the ass. But I did it, and I got back to driving the year after the whole COVID thing started. But by then, I was already completely through what I had gotten. Yeah, exactly. And I'm not. Even when I was driving Lyft, I was making about $20 an hour. It was not anywhere near $66 an hour. It was enough to get gas, have food, and maybe pay a bill or two. But I would have been better off than I am right now. And people keep saying DoorDash. Well, DoorDash requires you to climb stairs to deliver to people on the second or third floor of all of these apartment complexes around here. I can't climb stairs. So that's kind of out. No. Okay. I'm new is not an excuse anymore. Because way too many of you who say you're new have come in here from the awareness group. No, don't block the new ones, but saying I'm new is not an excuse for being nosy. I've been on Social Security since I was 36. It's a dress, Michelle, and it has pockets. And I love the little detail here. Exactly. I literally lived on that for the year. It paid my lot rent. It paid for a lot of the food because you were having to order out. That's not cheap. No, an office job is not a possibility. I'm not going to go into the whole goddamn spoons thing. Look up spoon theory and chronic illness. Put 2 and 2 together and you will have your answer as to why I don't work an office job anymore. Absolutely driving me crazy, people. I went to get my tea. And by the way, the adorable dress also came in beige. Absolutely love this. It's actually almost like a khaki background with the leaves and flowers. It is so me. I had a favorite dress that was like this, but it was in lavender. Oh my God, I wore that thing for years. I got it in high school from Casual Corner. I loved Casual Corner. And I wore it, gosh, I wore it until almost age 30 because it was so flowy and large sized. I mean, just expansive type material that it went with me up in size quite comfortably. I loved my prom dresses came from Casual Corner. I had 3 Gunny Sacks dresses that just were gorgeous. I'm going to tell you now, Angela, I've gone through it a million times and people don't listen to me. I'm going to just say, Google the spoon theory and chronic illness. It's going to be the easiest way for you to understand what the spoon theory is, but it has to do with your energy level and chronic illness. So, anyhow, how long have I been on here? Wow, almost my full hour and a half. Hour and 22 minutes. People with POTS use the spoon theory all the time as a way to describe what happens with POTS. POTS is has to do with your blood volume, low blood pressure, but it's more than just low blood pressure. And if you stand up suddenly, you can pass out because your body can't regulate well enough. And people with POTS especially have very low energy level. And the spoon theory, okay, I'm going to go ahead and describe it one last time. A normal person, a healthy person, starts the day with 10 spoons. And they might end the day with 8 or 9 spoons. In other words, yeah, it has to do with blood circulation, exactly. In other words, you can go work out at the gym, you can work all day in the office, you can cook a dinner, chase the kids, and you're tired, but you're not down for the count for 3 days. A person with chronic illness like lupus and fibromyalgia and chronic fatigue and POTS and the list goes on. We start the day with maybe 7 spoons if we're having a good day. Usually it's less. the act of just getting up and showering and getting ready for the day can be enough to make you want to take a nap. You go down to 2 spoons rapidly. Now there is a new, it's kind of like a Fitbit, but for chronic illness. It gauges your energy level and how much an activity drains you. And you wear it around your arm, and it sends messages to your phone telling you you're in the danger zone. You know, this activity has worn you out. You need to go lay down now. So this tracks what happens and how it drains you. And it gives you printouts that you can take to your doctor to actually show minute by minute what is happening with your body. And it gives the doctors a better tool for diagnosing and treating you. But no, you don't need to push yourself, Bella. Pushing yourself doesn't make it stronger. Pushing yourself can end you up in the hospital. It is. It's visible. I think visible.health is what the website is. I'm not exactly sure. Patty, I've had fibromyalgia and arthritis and chronic fatigue since 94, and then I was diagnosed with, you got something like lupus, but it's not lupus, but it tests positive on one test and negative on the other test. So there's something going on here, but we don't know what it is. That was in 95, and then I fell in the sinkhole in 96 and broke a whole lot of bones. And that finished me off. Exactly. You can't understand. But hopefully, understanding the spoon theory is one step to having compassion, if nothing else. I cannot crochet for love or money. I used to do jewelry, but my hands are so stiff now that I'd have to start all over again. I was doing coloring, painting, and I went back to driving Lyft and just lost the energy for doing it. Since I am not able to drive Lyft, and if I can get that van, I will have a workspace, I'm going to start doing painting again, and hopefully I can make a little money that way. I watch the verticals. I've gotten really hooked on them, and I'm so angry that so many of these companies are dropping their wonderful, fabulously talented actors and makeup artists and writers and directors and the whole 9 yards, and they're going AI. They're feeding pap into a computer, and the computer is spitting out garbage and dressing it up as a movie. If I hear, what is the fucking word that they get wrong every single time? Oh, Epstein-Barr is no fun. I am so sorry, Deborah. Epstein-Barr is rough. She will probably appreciate knowing about the spoon theory. Tell her to look it up on Google to get better information on it, because I gave you a very rough description of it. But it's like having the thing with the jar, the professor who comes in and says, fills it with rocks, and he says, okay, is the jar completely full? And some of the classmates say yes, and others say no, there's spaces in between the rocks because they don't completely fill up the jar. So then you put in pebbles, and pebbles fill in some of the crevices, and now is it completely full? No. And then you add like a large sand. And is it full? And no, you can still fit water in it, so they fill it with water. Now the jar is completely full. That is what, and there was a whole, thing about what that described. I don't remember I just remember your life isn't completely full with just one thing. You need to fill it with multiple things, and it was another metaphor for life. Well, I'm glad I could share it. I have heard it from multiple creators on here who have much worse chronic illness than I do, from cancer on down. It was a aha moment for me when I heard it the first time, because it just answered so many questions. And I tried to explain it to my doctor brother, and he's like, well, that's stupid. And I'm like, no, Google it. I don't know if he ever did. And now that he's had his stroke, he's got bad double vision. And so he can't see real well. He can't drive anymore. His life has changed. This is the man who constantly berated me for being lazy. If you really wanted to, you could push through and do it. Now he's finding out what it's like to have a chronic illness that you can't push through. Karma sometimes is a slow bitch, but she does get you. He's 8 years older than I am. His birthday is October. So I think he'll be 75 in October. I'll be 67 in November. And the other brother, who's 6 years older, will be 73 in December. We're October, November, December. I don't know. I just realized that there was definitely something has happened, and it was confirmed after a phone conversation. But exactly, you don't look sick. You look perfectly fine. You got out of the car and could walk. It's like people who use mobility devices who can walk but prefer to be able to have more energy to enjoy an activity, use a electric chair or a scooter or whatever. It's not because you can't walk, it's because this makes it possible for you to enjoy the activity for a much longer period of time. And I saw you get out of the car, you look like you're walking just fine. I've heard that so many times. Why do you use the chair around the store? Because I can actually spend more time enjoying the shopping experience and not get completely exhausted. It's, Jim was actually, he started out as general practitioner specializing in geriatrics. So he should have been more understanding. And then he became an OCDOC. That's someone who, occupational medicine. And he got lots of fancy symbols after his title. But anyway, he did, besides employment screenings and physicals, and if you had an accident at work, you had to come in and have a drug test and an alcohol test and all of that to prove that it was really workman's comp and not your
substance abuse causing the issue. He would do he would be the company doctor for giving out the flu shots, and if somebody did get sick, they could go into his office, get a prescription, and either a slip saying you can't work for so many days to prevent cross-contamination within the company, or, here's your meds, go back to work. He also did FAA annual physicals and DOT annual physicals. So truckers, airline pilots, any kind of pilot had to go to him on a year-to-year basis. If you didn't pass all the tests, you lost your license to fly or drive cross country until you could pass the test again. He also was like one of the final says for people's Social Security disability. He would be the doctor that the courts would send all the paperwork to, and he would go through it without actually meeting the person, would give a diagnosis one way or the other as to whether they should get disability or not, which really irked the hell out of me because he was not sympathetic. He retired the year after I moved down here. I didn't know this. I just knew he was going to sell the business. I didn't know he was going to be completely retiring. He did. His diabetes was much worse than mine. And what does that have to do with anything? Yes, but what does it have to do with anything? I was raised Catholic. My mom was Presbyterian. I didn't go to church at all for quite a few years. I became agnostic until I met someone who was Mormon, and I started going to church with her and her family. And I converted and got baptized in the church in '85. So, anyhow. Karen, my faith is in God. It's not necessarily in organized religion. I like that the Mormon Church does more outreach than some. I do not like how I feel kind of discriminated against at the moment that I needed help. So there's a fan blowing on my phone to stop it from overheating. Which, yeah, it's not overheated anymore. I can plug it back in because we're rapidly... The phone is old. I love this charger. This is my OG, the first. And this one, it has 4 panels for solar, so I can set it on the dash of the car during the day, and it charges. So I already told you, it's the fan keeping my phone from overheating. My adorable fan. know what? I'm not going to answer that because that's a rude question. Rude to the people who you think are doing it just to have fun. Because you don't know that 20-year-old could have a really bad case of POTS. And you think they're just having fun when in actuality, they could pass out in the store without the use of that scooter. So, thinking that they're just out there to joyride is making an assumption that's discriminatory on people with disabilities. Or, I've lost too many friends to ALS. I don't even like thinking about that one. Well, and if they do, you should tell them that there are people who need it more than they do, and they should leave it for them. Because that's how I end up with one that's dead because somebody joyrided with it. But, there you go. See? Thankfully, my ticker is not my problem. My heart is good. Everything else sucks, but my heart is good. Deborah, I need to find a way to earn the $2,500 so that I can buy that van. And then I don't have to worry about whether or not I have a house because it has a bed and everything else. I won't have to get a hotel room as often. I mean, I still probably will get one at the beginning of the month just to have a really good, long, hot shower kind of thing. And to maybe clean out the van. Give me a day or two to do a deep clean. But, it will make the entirety of each month so much better for me. And I could actually travel a little bit. I could go see people because if I get tired, I just pull over, take a nap in the van, and when I'm ready, drive again. Anyhow. Joyriding is yes, reckless, but at the same time they do have absolutely no need for the scooter in the store. They're just doing it to be a nuisance. Joyriding is being a nuisance. Probably because apartments are way more than what I have in income. Thank you very much. I am on wait lists for income-related housing, but it's a 3-year wait list, minimum. So, a fan, keeping my phone from overheating. I wouldn't get an apartment for $25.90 because that would mean that the bloody apartment costs more than my monthly income. I'm sure it is. New Jersey's probably even worse than it is here. I've got the fan set at 22. It's not even at a high setting. It's just enough to keep the phone from overheating. Can I say that any other way? And get it across. Get the point across. Speaking of which, let's plug my little fan in so it doesn't die on me. Yeah, it was down to 23%. I'm sure it is, and I'm so sorry, but well, I could just sit here and do da 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 da, you know, but I put it all the way down to 1. It literally is at the lowest speed that it can go. Anyway, the cost of the van is exactly $2,500. So, and then I don't have to worry about an apartment. I can wait for low-income housing to come available for me. I would not get an apartment that I would not be able to afford month to month. I would be evicted again. I mean, what part of $950 a month was more than I could afford? And there is not a single apartment in this town that is less than $950 a month. Most of them are $1,200 or higher. My income is $1,100 a month. If the apartment costs $1,200, and then you have electricity and water and everything else that gets tacked on to having a home, where exactly am I going to get all that money? And because Heimdall is an ESA, not a service dog, I would be charged a pet fee, which some apartment complexes charge month to month. So add on another $50 to $100 a month. Actually, Bella, I don't shop. I browse. No. I'm not leaving Pinellas County, and there is no place in Pinellas County that is cheaper. So, I will never live in Tampa again. Oh my God, that was a miserable year. And I have the absolute best doctor. I do not want to give her up. And if I moved, I'd have to give her up. It is expensive. But it's expensive everywhere in the country these days. No place is really cheap anymore. Anyway, I've been here an hour and 47 minutes. I'm going to go for a little bit, mostly because I need to go use the bathroom, and I need to try and call the front desk again because I want to just find out if we've had any issues because of somebody doxing me. Yes, but Georgia, you pay a state tax as well as a federal income tax. So it's not cheaper. In the long run, no, it's not cheaper. Thank you, Anna Grace. So my one brother lives in Georgia. So I know. Rent is cheaper, but again, other things are not. All right. I will talk to you all later.